emerging across our African continent. By the way, my name is Francis Donasiano. I'm a mentor from Malawi Community Forum Organization, and today I'll be your moderator. So before we start, I would like us to introduce ourselves so that we can know each other. You mention your name, where you are from, and of course, as Nicholas already indicated, if you are in a comfortable position, you can actually switch on your camera so that people should be able to see you, and then we proceed from there. So, as I said, my name is Francis Donasiano, a mentor from Malawi, and I'm here to make a main presentation for this dialogue, and then, of course, I'm also your moderator for today. So let me pass the mic to. I'll just be mentioning your first name, and then you unmute yourself, and of course, switch on your camera, and then you introduce yourself. So let me pass this mic to Blandon. Blandon, please, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Brandon. I'm from Kenya. I'm a school accountant, and I'm happy to be in this dialogue or in this participation of LiveX. Thank you.
Linus, you have got the mic. Can you please introduce yourself?
In the matrix. Are they going to lie? As the matrix will be the exposure, and the matrix, it is a document that is going to be the backbone of the YC2 convert.
Linus, we can't hear you. If you're not ready, can Andrew, can you introduce yourself? Agatha, please. If you are ready, Agatha.
I have some comments sent to me. Maybe what we can do is ask everyone who has joined to put their names or edit their names, like how it is appear here, and then hopefully type in the chat box where they're coming from, and then we can proceed with the main presentation if that works. Back to you, Donasian.
Thank you. So, as Nicholas has suggested, I think we should proceed with the rest of the program. For those who are joining in, you can just write your name in the chat box, and then we'll actually have the interactions and know each other as we go along. So for now, let me call Agatha to give us a brief introduction of the LiveX project.
Thank you, Donatio. So, LiveX, it's our planet and it is also our responsibility. So, this is a Living Earth campaign, which was hosted in South Africa. And LiveX is a virtual exchange project funded by Erasmus Plus and implemented by the ICYE Federation, CCIVS, and 8 sub-Saharan Africa partners: Kenya, Togo, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Mozambique, South Africa, and Tanzania. So here are the main objectives of the project. We want to empower the youth globally. That is building leadership capacity for tackling climate changes. But how do we do that? It is through community engagement and also inspiring proactive thinking in sustainable solutions. We also need collaboration in action, which is fostering meaningful relationship between diverse communities. How do we do this? As a campaign, we can have it online like what we are currently doing right now. The moment you heard of LiveX in the dialogue that we are going to have today, we probably had a lot of things that came to mind. Which are the artists that are actually spreading the word? What are they even doing to spread out the word? So it brings us together, no matter where we are coming from. But globally, we become one person and we work towards the same goal. We are also creating a sustainable impact to promote equity in addressing environmental challenges, as we also protect biodiversity through culturally inclusive solutions. Like in Zimbabwe, we have got a natural organic fertilizer, which is called Bokash. And I hope we will get more time and more activities online that would also teach others on how we are doing this or how we are coming up with this Bokash. And we are also shaping the future together, because the future is not just tomorrow, the future is now. As we are dwelling much on what we are doing, we are also thinking of the land that we borrowed from the unborn as we try to do much justice on it. And in shaping the future, we strengthen the global networks for youth-led climate advocacy. That's why we have even more countries like 8 sub-Saharan Africa partners, like I mentioned from the onset, as we are watching on the screen. And there is also highlight innovative project by participation in local communities. As it is local driven, we also have to engage the local authorities, because they are the ones who face the impacts of climate change or what we'll be going through. And we advocate for policy change rooted in cultural and environmental insights. And in youth participation, what do we mean? What's happening? We are hosting power-packed online dialogues. And as we started, we had quite a number of people online. And I'm sure that impact is not only being led online, but there are people who are also doing something on the ground to actually see that we are doing something, we leave behind the good footprint, that we were there, we lived, and we loved Mother Nature. And together we explore the intersection between justice issues and practical solutions for climate justice. By having campaigns, we are doing water harvesting, earth restoration, to mention only a few, and environmental conversation in creating a better future. Your mission today, if you choose to accept it, take your newfound insights and inspirations to your community. You have the power to start a movement, create change, and protect the planet for generations to come. Those generations would want us to work together, as we would like to prove it. Would you like to join the LiveX project? Yes, that's why we are here. Your voice is also our concern. So this is your chance to make impact in your community, wherever you are. Spread the word, share what you have and what you'd have learned. We are bringing together 2,000 passionate youth, just like you, people who can it and want to create a sustainable future. Why should you join? It is because learn how you can tackle climate challenges head on, and you also know how to spread it to your fellow youth. Connect with inspiring youth change makers from across. What is challenging me today might be challenging someone who is in India, someone who is in America. But globally, if we work together, we will find something that we can do. And as we share our ideas, we speak the conversation, take lead into the community. It's our responsibility to do this. Thank you once again for being on board with us. So for more, you can check on those websites and feel free to contact any one of the people that will be mentioning today. Thank you so much. Now I hand over the mic to Donatio. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Agatha, for that wonderful introduction of the whole purpose of why we have gathered here today. And from there, let me take you through the brief presentation on art and climate change. Can you please go? Yes, thank you. Our today's theme is art as a mirror of climate change. And this is where we would like to explore the creative expressions that inspire climate awareness and action. For those of you who have had a chance to see the program indicates that I am going to make a presentation on art and climate change. But then looking at the concept of art, looking at art as something that we, in our communities, in our families, wherever we are, I feel like we should turn this presentation into a platform where everyone should sit down and reflect on what art is and how art can help us advocate for climate change issues, how art can become or is an important tool for climate change. Most of the times, we tend to ignore the power that we possess in ourselves. We tend to ignore the power of whatever we make use in our surroundings, in as far as advocacy for climate change is concerned. In this session, I would like each one of us to mainly use the chat box for interactions and of course engagements, because as I said, we are talking of art, and the art is a practical thing. It's not that we should just gather here and be voicing out things that we cannot even understand. So today, I believe and I hope that everyone has listened to some kind of music. And I also believe that if you haven't listened to any song today, but at least you have come across some artistic works somewhere. We are living in a world where almost everyone has got a smartphone. Here, everyone who has joined this session, you have got a smartphone. And you have at least come across a certain visual, and that's art. As I said, you also have listened to a certain kind of music. You have seen some kind of illustrations or any kind of film that you have watched today. And I want you to utilize the chat box or the comment box to maybe reflect on why, of all the music that has been produced, that is there from across the world, of all the music, why have you chosen to listen to the kind of music that you have listened today? Of all the TV channels that you paid or subscribed to, why today have you chosen to switch to that channel? That is the most important part of art. So may we please utilize the comment box to reflect on why you decide to listen to that kind of music, on why you have watched the film that you have watched today.
We are already having feedbacks there. Kandawa is saying they need to relax, and so they turn into jazz, which always has a way of soothing their souls. Back to you, Donasian. But I hope more is coming, and we can later on check them out.
Yes, that is very, very important to our discussion today. Where I'm driving at is that the kind of music that we listen to shapes our behaviors. The kind of visuals that we like, that we subscribe, are the ones that determine our interactions within our societies. The way we relate with our friends, the way we interact with the environment is somehow defined by what we consume in terms of art. If we go around today, I think this is actually common in most of the African countries, if not the whole world, that today we are always hearing that the kids of today are more clever than we used to be in the past. We are also hearing that the kids that are born nowadays, they know a lot of things that we ourselves didn't know when we were of that age. And the question is, why? Why do these, or why does this generation know a lot of things? Where do they get it? It's the internet. It's what we give them to watch. And the way they behave is because of art. It's because of what we are watching. So this should give us an overview of what art is. This should give us a hint of how we as a society, we as a continent, we as a community can use art for climate awareness. Because if we cannot spend the whole day without listening to music, without watching a TV, why can't we just turn whatever we listen to as a tool to raise climate change awareness? If we are saying the kids of nowadays know a lot of things than we used to when we were of that age, why can't we let these kids consume positive messages on climate change? If we let our generation to be defined by art, actually positive art, then we can use art as a tool to communicate complex climate science, either through visuals. We can make the climate change data accessible, and we can always make that data more understandable to our generation, even to ourselves. Next slide, please. So, as Amanda highlighted in one of her writings, that art provides new platforms for reflection. You would agree with me that if you are with your family, let's say in a room, the conversations nowadays come from what we are watching. If there is nothing to watch, if we are not listening to any kind of music, you would agree with me that you experience some sort of silence for some minutes. Actually, you lack something to tell your colleague. So art is there to provide a new platform for reflection. Let's say if I'm watching a TV and then something pops up very interesting, I would actually consult my friend, or I would actually describe, hey, look at this. Look at how this girl is dancing. Look at the message that has been displayed on the monitor. And that's where the conversations come from. And you may even discuss for almost an hour, discussing whatever that you have watched at that moment, discussing even a single lyric from an artist, from a song. So if we as a community come together and make use of art to display messages, to communicate climate change, to actually inspire and influence this generation to adopt art as a mode, as a platform for reflections on climate change issues, I think our behaviors towards, our perceptions towards climate change can truly bring an impact. Yes, next slide, please. So there are so many forms of climate change art. We can use visual storytelling, the ones that I was just describing, eye-catching visuals for understanding. I think our eyes are attracted to what we see, perhaps than to what we hear. So if we turn climate change issues into some form of visuals, I think almost every one of us can be interested to learn, to know what climate change is. We have got the geospatial maps, visual tools to track climatic events. Something that everyone can see, even those that have got hearing problems, they can even see and understand the events in our surroundings. Paintings, the photograph. Nowadays, we are fond of posting pictures on social media and wherever for people to see and comment, because we know we are attracted to photograph. We are attracted to paintings than writings. So we can actually use these channels to depict climate change impacts, to tell people, to share with the world the extent of climate change nowadays. We have good performing arts. You would agree with me that if I organize, if I am a famous artist, let's say Diamond Platinum is organizing a show in Malawi or in Mozambique, almost the majority of the youth would show up, would spend the whole night dancing to the tunes. What if we come together, we train artists, these artists, we collaborate with these artists to actually include messages on climate change in their music. And all these millions that have gathered, that are dancing, are listening almost each and every day. Their ears are consuming messages on climate change. Something can really change. We have got film and media documentaries, videos that we watch on YouTube, on our televisions, almost each and every day. And some other forms like street art. These are also very important when it comes to engaging even the youngest generation, the kids that we have in our communities. Those public displays, as long as they are carrying climate change messages, we can turn art into a tool for advocating climate change. Next slide, please. So as I say, from the forms of climate change advocacy, as I said, visual storytelling and geospatial maps. Artists normally use these forms to humanize climate issues. I'll give you an example of the project that we did here, that community forum did here in Malawi, which we were calling Artists Create Together. We actually engaged artists from climate prone areas where we trained them to compose music, songs that could tell the stories of affected communities, that could actually inspire or rebuild the affected communities. So here we're just trying to say we are all the products of art. Everyone is a product of art because our stories, our behaviors are determined by the works of art. The likes of geospatial maps that show us the real-time data like dry zones and sea level rise. Next slide, please. So you would also agree with me that people tend to remember messages that are emotionally connected to. If you tell someone something that doesn't touch him or her, he or she will barely remember it. What I'm saying is, art holds that power of communication. Art has got the power to emotionally connect people, to intellectual, not only emotional, but to intellectually connect communities. And that actually gives the people the power to keep the messages for even decades. Art has got that power to inspire thoughts and community discussions, as I said, on climate issues. People's conversations emanate from what they are seeing. People's conversations emanate from what they are hearing. So art has got such power to let people to engage groups of people in one place and discuss issues of climate. Next slide, please. So from the example that you are seeing, that is displaying right there, the Climate Change Theatre Action Performance at the University of Colorado. This is where you can even see that almost everyone is connected to the action performance. And this is right where the conversations may spark. Different conversations on what reflections, conversation on what is happening, on how we can conserve the environment. This is where almost everyone is intellectually, and not only intellectually, but also emotionally connected. And when they leave this place, everyone will be able to remember what has happened, their contribution to this action performance, the lessons, the perspectives, the best practices that they have shared from this action performance. Yes, next slide, please. The same applies to film, media, and street art. Documentaries tell real-life climate stories. Just because you are documenting something, you are showing someone something that once happened somewhere. People are able to connect. Let's say there is a documentary on people who have been affected by floods and cyclones. And this documentary is really showing. And this documentary is really showing the little impacts. Let's say damages of properties, death, the emotional impacts, the psychological impacts. And you are showing this to a certain community that is not caring its environment. People can easily connect. Emotionally, these people will connect and will understand easily the impact of climate change. And apart from that, why are we here today talking about film, media, street art as platforms for communicating climate change issues? Because we understand that nowadays media reaches large audiences. Apart from that, media sparks conversations, sparks interactive discussions, promotes such discussions or conversations among communities. So next slide, please. I will discuss about the street art when we get to the next slide. Yes, talk of the street art pieces. This is in Namibia, where we are seeing kids actually being interested to understand what is happening there. And you can see how emotionally, how intellectually these kids are connected. And if we keep these artistic works in our communities, where we are always communicating issues of climate change, as these kids are growing up, the climate change issues, the best practices to conserve climate change will partly be part of their habits. They will definitely form part of their behaviors, and they will actually be able to understand what climate change is. So instead of starting tomorrow when these kids are grown, why can't we start with the whatever that can attract these kids to understand, to learn about climate change? So this is a very good example where we can actually engage. Today, I think in these conversations, we're almost 30. And all of us, perhaps we are over 18, we are over 17. And these kids do not have access to smartphones, internet, and the like. I think this is the best way. This is one of the best ways where we can engage these kids into climate change conversations, trying to give them a platform where they can also discuss comfortably amongst themselves. Because as you can see here, where one kid has actually seen something very interesting and someone is not able to understand it, obviously there may be some sort of discussions. What is this? What is this guy trying to do? Where is this coming from? Why do you have this type of dams right here? Why do we see this man maybe trying to build a bridge right here? All those conversations may actually, with time, they may actually form part of their behaviors. That is why I was also saying that art nowadays, I should say art is a product. We are all the product of art. We are all the product of what we consume on a daily basis. Next slide, please. So where do we have the emotional impact? Where do we have the intersection between art and climate change? We are saying art bridges emotional gaps in climate communication. Wherever we are communicating issues to do with climate change, if we really want to have such kind of impact, to have such kind of change in terms of behaviors, then we need to use art to actually induce some sort of emotions in those people. So art has got that power to bridge the emotional gaps in climate communication. Art invokes empathy and sparks introspection. As I said, if you show someone the documentary that I described, the documentary that really displays the negative effects of not taking care of the environment, they will actually invoke some sort of empathy in some other people. And they would actually not be willing to experience the same. And what will be the result? They will be very careful with the environment. They will be very careful with the surrounding that they are in. And apart from that, we are living in a world where we cannot somehow deny the power of science. We are being dictated by science. And science is somehow complex. And it is also very complex when it comes to communicating data on climate change. So art can help to actually break this data into something that people can easily understand. That is why we are saying art visualizes scientific findings accessibly and memorably. Something that someone can easily access, something that someone can easily consume, understand, and remember even after some years. Instead of communicating such complex data in text and the likes. Adi. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Again, we are the product of art. Art reflects society's values and constraints. Art reflects society's behaviors. You can agree with me that the type of dances that you do in your community might be different from the type of dances that some other communities do. What does that tell us? We are different in terms of values. We are different in terms of the social interactions, the way we perceive certain things in terms of culture. So arts has got that power to give us a platform where we can actually reflect who we are in terms of values. If we want people to know us as people who actually live amicably with the environment, how are you going to communicate that to those people? It's through art. You can actually communicate what you value in terms of environment, in terms of climate change to other people through art. Art fosters climate conscious culture and collaborative effort. Where there are works of art, there are always 2 or 3 people. Where there is some sort of dances, where there is some sort of music and any kind of artistic works that we experience that we use in our communities, either for the sake of entertainment or any other purposes. But normally, there are always 2 or 3. And that brings the sense of collaboration. That brings the sense of community building. If people have gathered, it means there is something in common that these people can actually share and understand each other very easily. So art also holds that power to build community and shared responsibility for the environment, even for the other emerging issues in our communities. I don't know if it's only here in Malawi, but even when you're having the political rallies, the political campaigns, if you want people to come in large numbers, then you need to organize some sort of artistic works. People should come and watch some sort of entertainment or music or dances and whatever. What we are saying is people are attracted to art. So if we can use this art to actually communicate climate change issues, that means there is a sense of communalism. There lies a sense of the shared responsibility. Everyone would feel, yeah, this is my responsibility to take care of the environment. Next slide, please. So I think I've already talked about this, that artists use platforms for climate activism, they support policy change, raise awareness, and of course, inspire action. So we can move on to the next slide for the sake of time. Yeah, as I also talked about this, art is a valuable education tool. We can teach ourselves through art. We can teach our generation the best practices of taking care of the environment. We can actually promote creative learning about climate change in our schools and communities through art. And here, I also included a very good example of arts in education, the Fort Portal Street Art Exhibition in Uganda that highlights clean energy solutions. And here in Malawi, we have also had such kind of art exhibition where perhaps primary school learners go and visit some places where art exhibition happens. Next slide, please. So, art can depict hopeful and sustainable futures through educating our kids. If those kids adopt best practices, taking care of the environment, best practices of climate justice, hopefully we can have a sustainable future. Art inspires people to adopt eco-friendly habits. As I said, where people have gathered, they feel a sense of communalism. They feel a sense of shared responsibility for the environment. It actually inspires those people to say, okay, if 100 people have gathered here just for this one purpose of taking care of the environment, I think this tells us that each one of us is responsible to adopt eco-friendly habits. Artists offer creative ideas for mitigating climate change. As I say, we can't pass a day without listening to music. We can't pass a day without watching maybe a documentary. We cannot spend a day without coming across some kind of visuals, illustrations, or any film. So if we can incorporate messages on climate change in those media, then there lies the creative platform for mitigating climate change. Next slide, please. I talked about art as a platform for reaching the large audience. Here in Malawi, we know a lot of artists from Tanzania. We know some artists from Uganda. And hopefully I know some of you in maybe in as far as Germany or from across the globe. We know one artist from one country. We know even comedians from other countries. What does that tell us? It tells us that art crosses cultural and linguistic barriers. Art has got that power to bring us together, regardless of the borders, regardless of where we are, regardless of our cultural differences, language, or whatever. As I said, art is memorable. If you consume a certain message through artistic works, it's easy for you to remember that message because it has got a form of entertaining, and entertainment is memorable. What I'm saying is, art leaves lasting impressions and becomes of cultural heritage. And when you talk of cultural heritage, we are talking of the values, the social norms. And that's where the concept of us human beings as the products of art also comes from. Next slide, please. So what should be our take-home message today? Art is not just for entertainment. We can use art as an important tool to raise awareness, to foster empathy, and of course, promote action. Where people are able to understand art, there can be an action. Art complements science by emotionally connecting people to climate issues. And lastly, through creative expression, art becomes a catalyst for global climate action. And I think we can all relate of how powerful art is, of how powerful art can change the way we behave, of how powerful what we consume can actually form part of our behaviors, of how powerful the music that we listen to can actually influence and inspire us to take an action. And next slide, please. Please, next slide, please. Of course, that's also the last slide. So this is the end. Ziko Mwambili, thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Reaching this far, that's the end of our reflection of the power of arts in as far as we are trying to address climate change issues. And moving forward, I would like us to actually take some minutes to reflect of how art has actually transformed our communities, particularly the videos, the music videos, the illustrations, the pictures, the photography, the kind of music that we listen to, how such kind of music has become part of our habits. And we would like us to actually reflect on the role of art in our lives. Does music influence you to take an action in one way or the other? Does the photography that you come across on social media, that you come across in the streets, inspire you to take an action? Does the documentary that you watch is on something evokes some sort of empathy, evokes some sort of sympathy for the affected communities? And that can actually lead us to take an action. So at this moment, let me welcome comments, reflections, and of course, if there is any concern regarding the presentation that I've made, please, this is your time. Any comment, question, or any kind of reflection that you might have.
Hello, good day, everyone.
Good day. Welcome to speak. Others, please show your hands, and then we will invite you to share your reflections and comments. But yeah, welcome. Continue.
Thank you. My name is Pamela Nyashamapita Mombe, and I'm joining you from Zimbabwe. I just want to actually give a lot of thanks for this space where we can learn from each other, and I have learned so much from the presentation today. I'm also an activist. I'm also a certified green ambassador with the African Network of Green Ambassador and Sustainable Green Environment Initiative. And I'm also starting to explore making use of art for communicating with communities that I work with. And I learned so much today. So I'm truly grateful for how you took time to create that presentation, and also just share with us how there is hope in making use of art to share shared visions and a community mentality of healing together, because I also have learned through community projects and community engagement that there's actually a process that we all have to go together to start to heal our communities and get to a space where we can continue to create these shared visions. So I'm amazed by how you have already practiced this in your community, and I look forward to learning more from other people in these same communities. Thank you so much.
Thank you a lot, Pamela. Chinde, you next. Chinde? If Chinde is not ready, then I'll give the floor to Tawanda.
Hi, can you all hear
Hi,
me?
Tawanda. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right, great. So I'm Tawanda from Mutare, which is the third largest city in Zimbabwe. And this is I was so excited when I got to learn about this meeting because I work with a group of young artists. I'm a project manager for an art association. And literally right now, we are working on murals, and we just finished one on environmental sustainability. So the main objective of the Art Association is to develop their skills. And this is art of any kind. So dance, poetry, music, visual arts, sculptors, anything to do with art. But for this year, our strategy has now been to, as much as we're helping the artists to develop their skills, we also want to encourage them to think critically and see how art can be used as a tool to initiate positive change. So, I was just listening to the presentation saying yes, 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 because this is what we are trying to encourage our communities to view art in that way, because I don't know in other countries, but many people view art as a hobby or, one of those things. But we want people to see that power that art has, and that these young artists, and most of them maybe didn't get to go to school or didn't get to finish A-level because of, I don't know, financial issues, but they've got that power in them. They've got that gift in them. And that art in itself can raise awareness, can do so much, can impact communities in many different ways. So I thought I would share that's what we're doing here in Mutare. And this is the first of many murals that we want to do. And what we've done is we've collaborated with other organizations within that space. So for example, Green Governance, because they already have structures within the districts and so forth. And then we come in with the creative element. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tawanda. Chinda, are you ready now?
Recording in progress.
I'm not seeing other hands, and it seems like we don't have Chinde with us anymore. If anyone wants to speak, you can raise your hand and share your reflection. Also utilize the comments section. You can leave your reflection or comments there. I see Kondwani Kachamba also wants to say something. So welcome, the floor is yours. And for those who don't know how to raise their hands, if you look on your screen, there is a button that is written React. If you click there, you should see many options, including raising your hand. And that's what you should be utilizing. Thank you very much. The floor is yours, Kondwani.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, I want to thank all members, your executive members. This meeting is very important to me because I have learned from Malawi. I'm a youth chair. So more about how empowering others, how I can educate others about climate change. So I'm very happy. This meeting is very important. So continue doing that. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Kondwani. If you're struggling to raise your hand, I saw a few hands being raised and then lowered. You can unmute and say you want to say something. Also, you can leave a text. Yes, but thank you very much, Kondwani, for that comment of yours. Appreciate it. Anyone else? I saw one other hand, but then it was lowered. If that's the case, then I'll hand it over back to you, Donaciano. to maybe perhaps react on the comments and reflections. Yes, Donasiano, Francis, your microphone is on mute.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for the reflections. For some of you, you have shared your initiatives, your projects that you are actually carrying out in your respective countries. And we are glad that we gathered here today exploring how powerful art is in addressing climate change. And at this juncture, I would like to share a video, a very short video that we can watch, and then just 2 minutes, and then we can reflect on that video, on how powerful it is in addressing climate change. And of course, I also got another insight from Pamela, if I'm not mistaken. She was saying most of our artists are not actually advanced in terms of education, and that shouldn't be an limitation for them to be engaged in climate change advocacy, because art is just something that some of the people are born with. And the video that I'm going to show you is not from someone who is actually advanced in terms of education, but he possesses such skills through which you are going to see that art is something that can be done by anyone. And when it comes to communicating climate change issues, it's just a matter of mentoring them, a matter of training them to critically coin these messages so that everyone should be able to understand, grasp the whole concept of how we can advocate for climate change through art. So, Nicholas, I would actually ask you for your assistance, or anyone who can actually beam the video. I'll share with you, Nicholas.
Yes, please. If you share the link, then we're able to show it on the screen.
Can I share just the video? It's not yet published.
And then okay, yeah, let's see what we can do. In the meantime, if there is more reflection, you can also raise your hand and say something while we're figuring the video out. But yeah, once I have the video, maybe I'll see how I can share it with everyone. So is it a video that you have, and then you're sending it to me maybe over WhatsApp?
Yeah, yes, I've already sent you.
Okay, let's see if I can. And then on the chat, we have someone there. Donatien, maybe you can react to that
Yes.
while I'm on the video.
Yes, Edison. I think everyone can also react to this. I'll just read it out so that everyone should hear what Gusaro has written. Has anyone ever come up with an initiative to reach out to the deaf community using arts with issues to do with climate issues? If they did, what was the approach? How did they approach it? Has anyone ever come up with an initiative to reach out to the deaf community using art with issues to do with climate? If they did, what was the approach?
Right. Do you want to continue with that? I've also figured a way to share the video already. So if you're ready, I can start sharing it.
Yeah, as I
I
said,
think Pamela's hand was up with regards to that statement.
okay, Pamela,
Okay.
you can react to that.
Yeah, Pamela, take the floor.
Okay, I had raised for the question before, but it's fine. I can also just share what I would think. First, I would think you would need to have someone in the deaf community that you're actually engaging with. Then you can then sit down and map out a program, but everything has to be from a grassroots level. So let them be the one who helps you to map out the beneficiaries on the list of people you're going to include. And then you have to make an inclusive program and look for partners. And then from there, after you have all of that together, you can start to then map the rest of it, but let it be people-centered and from like a context. It has to be within the context of the community they're in.
Thank you a lot, Pamela, for that wonderful reflection. I'm now going to share the video, and then Donatien, what was the ask again for when people are looking at this video? That they also look at it and share their reflection afterwards, right? Hello? I think you're muted if you're trying to speak.
Yes, at this moment, you can just share the video, and I want the people to independently reflect on it without having a preconceived idea from me. So I think
Perfect.
let's share the video, and then let's see how the people are going to see it, what the message the video is communicating, and how.
I can do it one more time. Yeah, that was it. You are muted, Donasiano.
Anyone who has got actually learned something from the video? Anyone, please. Have you got something from the video that you can share with us? Yes, Pamela.
Yes. For me, it was lovely to see how it is a collection of art, right? But you can also tell that the artists were trying to portray a story. And from the paintings at the end, I love how they have a story behind them, something very to do with the community, to do with nature. And that always then has someone else reflecting later of the contribution to nature and our part in this whole system. So, yeah, I think it's a very, very beautiful exhibition. Please share when it's now online.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. I also see Agatha. Agatha, please.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to say on those I think it's an art gallery, and from the way they are showing it, there's a made of conservation and how we are connected and related to nature. So at the end of the day, that is proclaiming and spreading the word that in as much as we are to have harmony with nature, our world will always be a beautiful place. Thank you.
Yes, great insights as well. Anyone with a different view? Mr. German, you are unmuted. Would you like to share something with us? So, well, from the video, one thing that I would like to share with you from the video is that the video has actually been produced by someone from Malawi who is not actually advanced, or someone who didn't actually study art as a field of academics. So it's just an inborn talent, and you could see that the art gallery that has been displayed here is really communicating something.
Francis, you're muted in case you're still talking.
Yes.
The last word we hear was the last word we heard was something.
Yes. It's really displaying something that is very significant, something that is actually telling us the power of art in climate change education. And from the video, I think if you also noticed, there are so many races of people. We have seen some people who are they are white people, and we also have some black people there. We can see that through arts we can always come together, because in as far as we are considering it as a tool for advocacy, but it's also a powerful tool for entertainment. You may go there just to be entertained, but at the same time, you network with people. You actually share insights. You actually share some ideas on what you are seeing. And if what you are seeing is environment, obviously the conversations there will be allowed conversations. And if you also noticed that there are some galleries that are showing purely issues of environment, and there are some galleries that are showing faces of African women in a natural attire. And what does that tell us? It tells us that if we can live amicably with the environment can also give us the beautiful appearance. And that's what we are seeing there. The beautiful women that we are seeing, the attires are coming from the nature, the surrounding nature. And that is also an important key to when it comes to the importance of conserving our environment. So those are some of the lessons that we can actually get from from that video, and it's really worth it. A message to get away with after this dialogue. I'll actually share the video after this call, if I may happen that the producer, the owner, grants me a permission to do so. And of course, I'll also share the presentation with everyone here. If you registered through the form, I have your email addresses. But if you just joined without registering, please reach out after this call. Otherwise, let me give the mic to Nicholas. Perhaps you might have something to say or to share with us.
Nothing, then just a few more other comments on the chat. I think Favor from Nigeria was saying that sometimes our mind is a canvas which doesn't need mathematics to expand itself, to express itself, but does need perspectives to be well understood. And then there is more that has been shared by Tawanda on mirrors on the topic. So if we can all have a look there. And then somebody from Iswai, Kenya, Kola, has shared also more details and information on where similar work is being displayed from their end. So that's really great. People that are staying engaged and they're contributing, utilizing the chat area as much. But otherwise, nothing else from my end. But then again, thank you very much for this wonderful presentation, as everyone is saying. And I also personally enjoyed. I'll just hand it back to you to maybe conclude, and then we can say goodbyes and perhaps hear the last few inputs that have been left, perhaps, if any. So back to you, Francis.
Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining this call. I understand it was just a short notice. I think we started sharing the links, the registration form, and of course the posters a day, if not a day before yesterday. But you managed to register, you managed to join this call. We are really grateful for that. And it means a lot. It means that we are very eager, we are very passionate to see our environment being taken care of, to see our communities worth living. And at this juncture, let me also mention that if you have got something that you would like to get more information on, please do not hesitate. You can always reach out. And if you also didn't register through the registration form, please, you can drop your email addresses in the chat box. I'll get it and then send you the video, as I said, and of course, with the presentation. And lastly, let me ask. And lastly, let me ask everyone to switch on their cameras so that Nicholas can take some pictures for this call, and then we wind up. We call it a day. If you're in a comfortable position, please, you can switch on your camera.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. I'll do a few shots. So please put your best smile for the next 1 or 2 minutes. Put your best smile, because I don't want anyone to be like, look at my face there. So open your camera and put your best smile on for the next 1 minute. And until then, just say LiveX. I'm sure you appear smiling. So LiveX, LiveX, one.
LiveX.
Good. Yeah. Keep your best smile, guys. Taking a few more other as we're speaking now. Great. If we can also try another pause, if you can raise your hand and, be like, exactly. Of course, not any funny signs, but something more powerful. That would be really nice. If we can all raise our hands and do something really powerful for our call today, because it was very powerful, that would be nice. Perfect. Few more pauses, powerful pauses. Let's see, a few more powerful pauses. Perfect. You're doing good. I'm the only person who is not doing any powerful pauses because, of course, I'm taking the photo. Otherwise, I'm well represented. Thank you very much. That's all, I guess. You can remain at easy now. I'm done. I think everyone was captured. Again, thank you very much for the organizing team. This whole dialogue today has been organized by Malawi, Kenya, all partners, also Zimbabwe, all partners of LiveX. They've spent time to put together this wonderful presentation, and it has really been eye-opening for most of us. So thank you very much also for your time and staying on. I see the number has been consistent since we started. That's really nice. We're going to communicate when our next online dialogue is, but I want to also take this opportunity to already welcome you to our virtual dialogue, which will mark the completion of our first round of virtual exchanges, part of what we're doing with LiveX on the 20th, so next week. Please, if you have time, join. We're going to share more details on how you can join and take part through our social media accounts. We'll also send a few emails over to just remind you of the times and when and what you can bring part of that participation, but it's surely going to be very exciting. Having to say that, you can unmute your microphone and say your goodbyes in your languages, and that would be wonderful to hear as we are signing off. Thank you very much. Kwaheri.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
See you.
See you.